The transport shuttle bucked violently, a scream of tortured metal echoing through its Spartan hold. One moment, the sole passenger was strapped into her acceleration couch, the serene azure vista of the human colony world Promise filling the viewport. The next, a storm of crimson emergency lights and shrieking klaxons erupted as the shuttle convulsed under a devastating impact. A rogue piece of orbital debris, the reports would later say. A statistical impossibility. A very real catastrophe. Her world became a whirl of chaotic motion and deafening noise. A secondary explosion, closer this time, shattered the main lights and blew the door to the cockpit clean off its tracks. With a final sickening lurch, the artificial gravity failed. She was flung from her couch, a tangle of limbs and fine travel silks, tumbling weightlessly through the dark, smoky air. Panic, cold and absolute, seized her. This was not how a daughter of the Royal Crescent was meant to perish. Alone in the cold dark between stars, her uncontrolled flight was abruptly halted as she collided with a soft, yielding surface in the adjacent space, the cockpit. Disoriented, she grasped at the fabric of the pilot's chair. The cockpit was a cave of shadows, illuminated only by the frantic, dancing glow of surviving instrument panels. In the central chair, silhouetted against the panoramic viewport, now filled with the terrifying spin of the planet below, was the pilot. He moved with a methodical, urgent calm that seemed to defy the chaos. His hands flew across the console, punching sequences, rerouting power, his voice a low, steady stream of communication to whatever station could still hear. Mayday, Mayday. T-7 Pilgrim, primary thrusters offline. Attitude control failing. Attempting emergency glide. Prepare for impact corridor. He never raised his voice. The shuttle groaned in protest, the atmosphere beginning to heat as they scraped the upper layers of Promise's air. The spin gradually lessened, becoming a violent, shuddering descent. Through the viewport, blue sky and green land rushed up to meet them with terrifying speed. Brace. The word was not a shout, but a clear, direct command. She had no time to return to her couch. She clung to the back of his chair, squeezing her eyes shut. The world dissolved into a monstrous cacophony of tearing, grinding, and shuddering impacts. It felt like it went on forever. Then silence. Dust motes danced in sudden, shocking sunlight. The shuttle was still, canted at a steep angle. Birdsong, of all things, filtered through the cracked viewport. She was alive. Shakily, she opened her eyes. The pilot was already moving, unstrapping himself, his hands running a swift check over his own body before he turned to her. "Are you injured?" His voice was the same as during the fall, steady, assessing. She took a mental inventory. I do not believe so." "Good. Follow me. The portside emergency hatch is clear." He led her out of the shattered cockpit, through the ruined hold, and into the dazzling light of an alien sun. They stood in a grassy clearing, the shuttle's furrow a deep, smoking scar in the earth behind them. The air was sweet and thick, with the scent of crushed vegetation. He immediately set to work, pulling an emergency beacon from a dorsal compartment and activating it with a sharp click. "Sit over there, in the sun." "Shock will set in soon," he instructed, pointing to a fallen log. He then began a perimeter check, his eyes scanning the tree line not with fear, but with sharp professional assessment. She sat, watching him. The calm he had exhibited was not an absence of emotion, she realized. It was a type of intense, focused energy, channeled entirely into survival and duty. He checked the beacon, secured the wreckage from any immediate fire risk, and assembled a small pile of supplies from the salvageable storage, a water canister, a first aid kit, a compact survival blanket as he worked. The reality of her situation settled upon her. She was stranded on a human colony world, her diplomatic entourage light years away, her schedule of treaties and ceremonial greetings utterly obliterated. The panic threatened to return, a cold claw in her stomach. He approached, offering her the water canister. "Drink, it will help." She took it, her hands trembling slightly. "You saved this vessel. You saved us." He gave a small, dismissive shake of his head. "The shuttle saved us. I just negotiated the landing." He sat on the grass a respectful distance away, his eyes never fully leaving the surroundings. "Rescue is maybe 6 hours out. The beacon is strong." "I must thank you," she said, the formal words feeling inadequate. "Your composure was remarkable." He looked at her then, truly looked, and she saw the first crack in his professional facade. A deep weariness, and something else, a flicker of relief. "It's the job," he said simply. "You did well. You didn't scream. You held on." It was a minor thing, but his acknowledgment felt like a greater reward than any royal decoration. The hours passed. He spoke little, but his actions were a language of their own. He ensured she was warm, hydrated, and safe. When a curious 6-legged native creature snuffled at the edge of the clearing, he placed himself between it and her without a word. Observing it until it ambled away, the rescue team arrived in 2 rugged surface vehicles as the sun began to dip. Medics swarmed. Officials debriefed them both on the spot. A planetary administrator, flustered and apologetic, bowed deeply to her. "Your Highness, we are profoundly relieved. A suite is prepared for you in the capital. Your staff has been notified." She listened, but her attention was on the pilot. He was giving a terse, technical account to a flight officer, already being treated as just another part of the incident. As they were ushered towards separate vehicles, she made a decision. "He will accompany me," she stated, her voice assuming the tone that normally brooked no argument. The administrator blinked. "Your Highness?" "The pilot. He will accompany me to the capital. I require a familiar point of continuity after this ordeal." It was not entirely untrue. The pilot looked as surprised as the administrator. "Ma'am, my report can be given from the capital," she finished for him. "It is not a request." And so he joined her in the secure, plush vehicle. The suite in the capital was everything one would expect for a royal visitor. Spacious, opulent, with a balcony overlooking the city. She was provided with new garments, offered every comfort. Yet the vast, quiet room felt hollow, the echoes of the crash replaced by a different kind of unsettling silence. He had been given a room in the staff quarters. Yet, within an hour, there was a soft chime at her door. He stood there, having clearly just showered, wearing simple borrowed clothes, his own uniform being inspected for the investigation. "You requested I check in, Your Highness?" He said formally, "Yes, come in." He stepped inside, standing with a posture that was neither rigid nor overly casual. She gestured to a chair. "Please sit. I find I am not fond of the quiet just now." He sat. She asked him about the flight, about the mechanics of the emergency glide. He explained in technical terms that were somehow comforting in their precision. She asked him about promise, about human colonies. He spoke of them with a practical familiarity. She did not ask, and he did not offer, anything about his past or his family. It was a neutral, safe space. When he rose to leave, the silence seemed to rush back into the room. "You may go," she said, but the words tasted wrong. The next day, during a formal lunch with local dignitaries, she found the proceedings interminable. The polite inquiries, the veiled political probes, the ceremonial deference, it all felt like a performance on a stage that had suddenly become flimsy. She thought of the solid, quiet presence in the cockpit, the clear command to brace, the practical sharing of water under an alien sun. That evening, she found a reason to summon him again, this time to verify a point about the crash sequence for her own report to her family. He came, answered succinctly, and again. His departure left the room feeling emptier. On the third day, a ship from her own fleet entered orbit. Her time on Promise was over. Her chancellor, a tall, dignified man, arrived at her suite to finalize departure preparations. "We are most grateful for your safety, Your Highness," the chancellor said. "Your return will be a great relief to the Crescent. This incident, while unfortunate, will be but a footnote." She looked past him, out the balcony. The human pilot was in the courtyard below, speaking with a human logistics officer, likely being discharged from his temporary attached duty. He was a man about to return to obscurity. "There is a matter of recognition," she said, turning back to her chancellor. The pilot. His skill prevented a tragedy. "Our traditions demand we honor such service." The chancellor nodded. "Of course. A commendation can be sent through diplomatic channels. A medal, perhaps. It will be arranged." "That is insufficient," she stated. Her heart was beating a strange, quick rhythm. "His understanding of the event is unique. My official report on the incident will require his continuous consultation to ensure absolute accuracy. He will accompany us." The chancellor's composure slipped for a second. "Accompany us?" "Your Highness, he is a human colonial pilot. Our journey is to the core worlds. His presence on a royal vessel for an indefinite period. It is highly irregular." "The circumstances are highly irregular," she replied, her tone leaving no room for debate. "I am not asking for a medal. I am requisitioning a specialist consultant." "See to it." The chancellor, recognizing the finality in her eyes, bowed. "It will be done." Later, as the sleek, silver crescent frigate ascended from Promise, she stood in her R,